Support for this podcast comes from the law firm of Davis Malm. Whether you're a developer, property owner, manager, or commercial tenant, their real estate attorneys know the lay of the land, not just the law. Learn more at davismalm.com.
WBUR Podcasts, Boston.
I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and you're listening to The Common. Today, we have two guests with us. We have contributing reporter at the Boston Globe, David Abel. Welcome to The Common.
Thank you so much.
And we have Boston University journalism student Taylor Brokesh. Welcome to The Common.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you both so much for being here, because you have a story that is very important. It's about a city program that would pay for property owners to replace their lead pipes, which can be a serious health hazard. Lead can contaminate drinking water, and ingesting that lead can lead to some serious health problems, especially for children and infants. So there's that part. Now, this story also takes us to a Boston College dormitory where residents had been getting water through a lead pipe with no heads up from the college, despite the fact that for years, the Boston Water and Sewer Commission urged the school to replace the pipe. Now, Taylor, since we're talking about college, and that's your story, I want to start there with you. And I want to be clear, this is not some Boston University, Boston College rivalry hit piece, right? This is something you found in your reporting. Now, Boston College finally replaced the pipes at Graycliff Hall, that's the dormitory, after you reached out to them. And, through the program, the city paid for it. So, Taylor, tell me, why did Boston College take so long to replace those pipes?
That's a great question, because actually we're not sure why they took so long. It's very well documented from the Boston Water and Sewer Commission that there's up to almost 3,000 lead pipes in Boston that deliver water to city residents. And this lead line at BC is just one of those. The college was informed as early as possibly 2009 when the city replaced the public side of their lead line. And then they were told in 2016 by the Boston Water and Sewer Commission, 2016, 2017, 2021, 2022, and twice in 2023, that the Graycliff Hall probably had lead in their pipes inside the building. And in 2018, they also met with Boston College to discuss the best way to remove the lead pipes, but there had to be some coordination, Boston College said, because the lead pipe was within the cement foundation of the building, so they had to, find the best time to remove that.
So I would just add that in their defense, Boston College called it an honest oversight. They also said that they never received the letters that the Boston Water and Sewer Commission said that they had sent over the years, although those letters were sent to the college's energy manager. And those letters informed the college that water traveling through lead pipes may cause serious consequences for the occupants of their property. But the college did acknowledge that they had conversations with the Boston Water and Sewer Commission in 2018. And they said they had scheduled work for 2019, but for some reason that work never got done.
That's a long time. A lot of back and forth, it seems, but no action. So I wonder, Taylor, how did students react to learning that their drinking water came through a lead pipe?
Yeah, they were shocked. The college had never told any of them, the ones that we talked to, and actually had never told any of the students. I remember talking to a student that we actually used in the story who said every morning he went down to the basement in the communal kitchen and filled up his Stanley cup with the water from that kitchen. There was another student also who was an engineering student, and she, was very familiar with infrastructure of buildings and lead and everything like that, and was very concerned about her health and like what do I do now? Was like a question she kind of was asking. I felt really bad for them. It was a really tricky situation to be told by not the college, but actually by reporters that your building has lead pipes.
Did anyone report any type of health problems or anything?
Not so far yet.
Okay.
It takes a long time
Right.
for lead to manifest in some sort of adverse health problem. So
Got
it
it.
wouldn't be like you would just drink it and then you would have heart failure. It takes time.
I guess going outside of Boston College, did the City Water and Sewer Commission report any lead pipes at another Boston College property or similar places around the city?
Right. So they told us that they did not have any records of any other Boston College dorms or any buildings that had lead pipes, nor did they have any records that showed any other institutions having lead pipes.
Understood. Well, they finally addressed it, right, with the help of the city program, which I want to talk with you about, David, after we take a quick break. So we'll be right back.
Politics has never been stranger or more online, which is why the politics team at Wired is making a new show, Wired Politics Lab. It's all about how to navigate the endless stream of news and information and what to look out for. Each week on the show, we'll dig into far-right platforms, AI chatbots, influencer campaigns, and so much more. Wired Politics Lab launches Thursday, April 11th. Follow the show wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back with David Abel and Taylor Brokesh. So we just discussed a lead pipe at the Boston College dormitory, Great Cliff Hall, and it was finally replaced with the help of a city program that pays for private lead pipe replacement. And now, David, I want to turn to you for this part because yours and Taylor's story focused on the city's challenge in persuading people to take advantage of the program, even though the city is saying, we'll pay for this for you. So tell us more about this program and why the city is having trouble getting people on board.
Yeah, it's a great question, and this is what interested me initially in looking into this story. The city has, over time, helped subsidize the replacement of lead pipes around the city, but they've only provided a portion, and then that generally covered a portion of the cost, and that over time increased. They provided low-interest loans, then no-interest loans. And then in 2021, the Biden administration wrote this bill that passed Congress and the president signed called the bipartisan so-called infrastructure law. And that provided billions of dollars for the replacement of lead pipes all around the country. And the rationale is that public health officials have found over the years that there is no safe amount of lead to ingest, that it is harmful for children, but it can also be harmful for adults. And the city, with that additional federal funding, has been able to now offer to cover the full costs. And over the last few months, they set out on a campaign to persuade those who they had reached out to in the past and had said no. They had sent them letters. And in the past few months, they have continued to have problems. They've only been able, as of earlier this month, to replace 18 or so lead service lines at more than 100 homes that they've reached out to where they were told that there were previous rejections of their efforts to replace their lead pipes.
So that's less than 20%.
That's right.
Wow.
And several of those are because we knocked on people's doors to alert them of this program. There's various explanations for why.
Yeah.
The first is that the city's outreach campaign has been arguably lackluster. The letter that they sent to residents had a lot of gobbledygook. It started with all kinds of miscellaneous and kind of pointless information, bureaucratic language. Jargon that when people received this letter, they told us they thought it was just more of the same and didn't continue reading until the fifth sentence.
Somebody should have took a journalism class.
Exactly. The fifth sentence. And where it said there would be no cost for the replacement. And I carried this letter with me as I was reporting and knocking on people's doors and showed them the language. And when they realized that, they were like, oh, well then, okay. And then they called the number in the letter and they had the work done. There were no city officials knocking on doors. But in the past, it cost something like thousands of dollars for a lot of property owners. And for folks who might be living in a house for decades and might be advanced in years, they thought, well, I've survived this long. I'm probably it's probably something else that's going to kill me. So I'm not going to make a change. And then for others, they just didn't want city officials rummaging through their basements, or they didn't want construction crews coming in and messing up their garden or their driveway or whatever it is they had to dig up.
I wonder, can the city make people replace their lead pipes?
No.
So they really have to sell this program.
As of now, yes. I mean, they could presumably pass rules that would, or ordinances that would compel them. And I believe that exists in some places around the country, but not in Boston.
So what are the consequences to the city if people don't replace their lead pipes?
Well, here's the biggest problem. There are no disclosure laws. So if I have a home with lead pipes, and I know there are lead pipes, when I go to sell it, there is no requirement to disclose that the pipes that bring water into my home are made of lead. That is unlike the requirements that if you have lead paint in your home. Mm-hmm. And that was banned in 1978. So because of the lack of disclosure, there are people who very well could be living in homes. A lot of people could be living in homes in Boston that have lead pipes and they have no idea.
Wow. And, Boston is a city with a lot of renters. So they may be renting at a property that might have lead pipes.
Even more concerning.
Well, if someone is curious about the pipes carrying drinking water into their home, how can they investigate this for themselves?
So there's something called the scratch test, and they could take like a nickel or a quarter and scratch the portion of the pipe that leads to the shutoff valve, and they scratch it and it's silver. It's most likely lead. But they can also call the Boston Water and Sewer Commission and they will send over a crew to check it out.
Let's say if they could actually do the scratch test and they find that it is a lead pipe. What do they do then?
Folks can contact the Boston Water and Sewer Commission's Operation Department at 617-989-7273. Again, 617-989-7273.
David, thank you so much for that. David and Taylor, thank you so much for this story. It's very important. Thank you for coming through to the Common to talk with us about it. We really, truly appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us, Daryl.
Thank you so much. I just want to say a final thank you to Taylor and all of the students in my class who did such amazing reporting. I am so proud of them.
Shout out to y'all. You are the future. That's Boston Globe contributing reporter David Abel and Boston University journalism student Taylor Brokesh. And that's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening to The Common. If you want to get in touch with us, hit us up on Instagram at WBURTheCommon or send us an email at thecommon@wbur.org. I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and I will talk to you tomorrow. And replace your lead pipes.